Hi. So I just wanted to go into how I accepted chemo and how I came to see it as something beneficial. So I have a lawyer who I've been working with for a while on other things, and she's amazing. She's been so supportive through this cancer journey. She's been an amazing lawyer, and she's just an amazing person in general. And one day before even no, I think it was when I knew that I would have to get chemo, because otherwise, why would she say this? We were talking, and I was talking about how I was kind of seeing chemo as these toxins going into my body, and how I'm trying to wrap my head around all of this. And one of the things that she said, and she believes highly, like very strongly, in self-efficacy, and I'll go into that later. But one of the things that she said is that I need to see chemo as a blessing. And I thought about that, and then she was absolutely right. Yes, it does do a lot on your body, and it is not something fun to go through. But if we think about it and put things into perspective, 100 years ago, with a breast cancer diagnosis like mine, it would have likely have been a death sentence, or I would have gotten a mastectomy that would have been really muscle altering and just not good in terms of my mobility, my level of fitness, and all of that stuff. And also chemo has come a long way. So I started incorporating this idea of seeing chemo as a blessing, and I wanted to see chemo as something positive. But I'm a very visual person, and in being visual, I also need to have strong images to latch onto, because when I do have a strong image, then that can actually carry me through even the most difficult times of my life. And so I remember I was scheduled to get my first chemo just last week, which was on a Tuesday. And on the Friday night, it always happens Friday and Saturday nights that I'm having these revelations, well, as of late. Anyway, on the Friday night, I remember thinking, or waking up at night, I think it was, and I was trying to come up with some sort of an image, like a strong image that will get me through this. And I thought about like a war zone situation where, you're fighting for something. You're fighting to eradicate an enemy force coming in. That enemy force can be cancer. But that image wasn't really working for me, because with war scenes, there's just a lot of destruction, right? And I don't want my body to be destroyed. So that's my thing. Like I'm doing chemo because I want my body to come out strong in the end, and cancer-free, essentially, but not destroyed. And so actually, I got on the phone with a good friend of mine the next morning, and together we came up with this really good image. And the image was of a Black Ops team. And so basically, my body is a city, a country, whatever. It's something that needs to be protected, but there are enemy forces within my body. And this Black Ops team, their job is to search and destroy. So that's their mission. Their mission is not to have any, captives, not to take any captives. And also, they need to minimize the casualties and minimize the amount of damage that will be put onto this city, country, whatever you want to have it, this body of mine. And so with this idea of that highly trained Black Ops team, I was able to go into my first chemo feeling more empowered. So not only was the chemo a highly trained Black Ops team, not only was this chemo like the best of the best, because my, as my oncologist said, my ACT dose dense chemo is the gold standard for treating my type of cancer at this moment in time in 2026 January. But also, I also thought of my body itself as being a very strong civilian organization that wants to rid the bad, or rid it of the bad, I should say. And so with these two forces, the chemo coming in, but also my body being strong, I was able to take that approach of like, no, no, no. Like, I'm not going in there to let chemo do whatever it wants with me. No, we're working together and I am protecting myself as well. And how am I protecting myself actively? By exercise, by eating healthy, by getting the rest that I need. I did discuss intermittent fasting with my doctor and my oncologist, and he agreed to doing like the 16 hours of fasting and 8 hours of eating prior to chemo. But what I've been doing is that a day prior to my chemo, I will start that. So I'll start eating at like 8 in the morning and eating at 4 in the afternoon. And then the day of my chemo, I start eating at 8. On Tuesday, actually, I got my chemo at 9 o'clock. So eating at 8 was perfect because I was taking the dexamethasone steroid as well for the anti-nausea. And so I was able to time it in that way. And then that afternoon, I stopped eating at 4. So hopefully, if there's anything about intermittent fasting and protecting my cells, then hopefully that gave them that protection, or at least I was telling myself that I'm also doing this and it is going to be protecting them. And then the next day I just started eating normally. Well, as normally as you can when you're on chemo, and we'll get into that. So anyway, what I'm trying to say is that if you are going through this cancer journey, you're at the beginning, you've been told that you need to get chemo, or you've been suggested chemo and you've accepted it, then what's really important is kind of rephrasing the chemo in your mind and seeing it as something that is working in partnership with you, and not seeing it as something negative coming onto your body. And this is the part of like the staying positive and seeing things in a different light that could be helpful, and also so very empowering when you're in a situation where you already feel so powerless. I hope this helps. It has helped me, especially going into that chemo. I remember I was debating as to whether or not I wanted a friend with me or not on my first treatment. And I was telling the friend just the night before that or night before my chemo, is that I actually didn't want her to be there. And what I wanted to do was listen to gangster rap as I thought about this black ops team working hand in hand with my civilians, ridding that body of those enemy forces. Not actually, quote unquote, they're actually enemy forces. So anyway, my friend ended up staying with me. I'll go into that later, but I just wanted to mention that this is something that helped, and hopefully you'll be able to go into this treatment with a strong image, or just an image that helps you, and that helps make it just a bit better and a bit more empowering. Okay, I look forward to seeing you again.